Hey folks, I am Gexup, and this is my first video review on a classic video game called Gex Enter the Gecko on the Sony PlayStation. This is my favorite video game from my childhood, and my duty in reviewing this game is to inform and promote classic games such as this. Let me first begin by letting me say that this is a typical 90s 3D platformer game. Back in those days, 3D games were overflooded with 3D platformer games due to the impact of Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64. In that era, many of those platformer games were trying hard to succeed over Mario 64, but unfortunately got negative receptions and were remembered as Mario ripoffs. Out of all the platformer games of that decade, the Gex series is by far the most unique and original. Gex Enter the Gecko is a sequel to the original Gex for the 3DO, Sega Saturn, PC, and Sony PlayStation. It picks up from when Gex defeated Rez to save television networks.
Since retiring from the public's eye, I had resigned myself to a life of solitude. For 2 years, I started my day watching Kung Fu theater. Days, then weeks blurred into one long, greasy telethon. The next thing I know, some government goons show up in my place. It seems they've caught a whiff of old Mr. Sunshine himself, Rez. He's back in the media dimension, and they think I'm crazy enough to go back in after him. So they whisk me away to Interrogation 101. They play rough. Start giving me the business. I give a little back. So we negotiate a little something to cover my expenses. They throw in one of those secret agent suits, and I tell them we got a deal. Looks like I'm headed back into the media dimension. It's gonna be deja ouch all over again.
So that's the story. Pretty forgettable, but that's not what this game is remembered for. Like I said, this 3D platformer is unique and original. Eidos Interactive and Crystal Dynamics wanted to make Gex a memorable mascot, so they made him into a funny, wisecracking anamorphic gecko that loves television. So they got the perfect voice for Gex by comedian and former writer of The Simpsons, Dana Gould.
Don't get me wrong, I love America, you know. I went to Europe last summer, I performed in Edinburgh, Scotland, fulfilled a lifelong dream of being heckled in Gaelic, you know. Good evening, I'm Dana Gould from America. Scree-yee! What? Scree-yee! Scree-yee? What? Echt je raspe Amerika, you bastard!
Classic. Totally underrated. You should check him out on YouTube after watching this review. The controls are simple as well. You can tail whip, karate kick as an attack, tail bounce to get to higher platforms, or eat flies to restore your health, earn a life, or get a power-up. The object of the game is collecting all the remotes, similar to collecting stars on Mario 64. Those total number of remotes are for you to advance to the next boss or the next level. Also similar to Mario 64. Damn it, stop talking about Mario 64. You earn those remotes by completing a mission in the level. Some of those missions include getting from point A to point B, destroy 3 certain objects, or defeat certain enemies, or a mini-boss. Simple as that. What makes Gex Enter the Gecko an original 3D platformer is the level designs in the game references to pop culture, like Toon TV is reference to Looney Tunes and other cartoons, Scream TV to various horror films, Kung Fu Theater reference to 1970s Kung Fu movies, the Rocket Channel to Star Wars, the Prehistoric Channel to dinosaurs, and Circuit Central to The Matrix, I guess. When Gex is in a certain level, he makes wisecrack jokes about what each certain level is referencing.
The princess is here on the detention level.
After all, Gex Enter the Gecko is a parody comedy game that references to pop culture, as you can see Gex parodying James Bond on the cover of the game. Back when I was little, I was a US military brat. My family and I lived in Seoul, Korea. In those days, I was a huge fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've always watched the show on a channel called Star Plus, now called Star World, where they had shows and cartoons that were old by America standards, and it was the only channel that I could watch the Ninja Turtles. But when the show was no longer showing on Star Plus, I was so upset and I wanted to watch something just as cool as them. You know, a reptilian-like character that's both enjoyable and always in action. Around the time, my father often buys PC demos from the Military Post Exchange, or PX, for our family computer. I remember in 1996, my first Gex game was the original Gex for the PC, and I was amazed on how cool the reptilian character actually was. But too bad it was only a demo. I could have had more memories with the game. Plus, I could have made a video game review also. Then on 1998, when I started making friends at my church, one of my best friends started talking about this new game he got for the N64. When I finally got in his house, we played Gex 64 for the N64, and I was just amazed on how phenomenal it was to see Gex in 3D. When I finally got my own Sony PlayStation, I finally got a chance to play Gex Enter the Gecko and couldn't stop playing it. Despite not having a secret Titanic level, only available in the Gex 64, Gex Enter the Gecko for the PlayStation had an amazing menu screen, actual cutscenes, and more features that the N64 port couldn't have. My little brother and all my childhood friends and I had so many good memories playing the game. I could never forget those moments and forever cherish them.
Out of the way! Roseanne!
Like every game I played, there's always an aspect or more that bugs the hell out of me. Looking back at it now, both Gex 2 on the PlayStation and the N64 had what is considered to be the worst camera in the video game. Even having to switch the 3 different camera settings, you will always have a problem with them. I know that this is a 90s game and 3D weren't as interactive as of today, but golly was it tough to be able to see certain things. And when you try to turn the camera around and are unable to, there's always that cuckoo, cuckoo sound effect that bugs the hell out of me to this day. Also, why is Gex only able to crawl on certain walls? That really disappointed me as a kid. Geckos can crawl on any surface, and I was looking forward to see Gex to crawl on any surface like Spider-Man, but nope! Only certain spots you can crawl on walls. But even if there was an area that you can crawl on a wall, there's still hard to see it. My least favorite level in the entire game is the Rocket Channel. To this day, I could never enjoy exploring freely around these levels because due to that stupid air bar indicated at the right telling me if that thing goes down, I'm automatically dead. It's a big hassle to find another air bubble or another air refueler. I know that he's in space, but seriously, he's wearing an astronaut suit to keep him breathing for, I don't know, at least 10 minutes?
Hey, monkey!
What I love about this game so much is Gex's amusing wisecrack jokes that made me, my brother, and all my friends thought it was cool, if not funny, which is the reason why Gex is one of my favorite video game characters of all time. Dana Gould did a very great job being the voice for Gex. The graphics and level designs were amazing, especially for its time. I loved the Toon TV level and couldn't have but this feeling that Gex has entered the Looney Tunes universe. Kung Fu Theater levels were so fun, having a Gecko kicking ninja ass, which brought back the old feeling I had with the Ninja Turtles. But my favorite level in the entire game is Circuit Central. Most people I know don't really like this level, but Circuit Central was the biggest, most mesmerizing, and the most challenging of all the levels. I love the quiet and dark cyberpunk-like environment that gives me goosebumps every time I play this level. What I love most about Circuit Central level is that glowing green light, where it not only gives Gex the ability to activate switches and more, but also changes the music to electronic house beat-like music that I find very fun to play it over and over again. It's just that epic! And my favorite boss fight of all time is Gex vs. Meta Gex, because it's a parody of the Godzilla movies, and it feels like you're actually playing as Godzilla finally, and it's just so fun to crumble all those buildings. Yeah, it's just so epic! I know that this is not the greatest game ever made, but going back to this game gives me this nostalgic feeling of the enjoyment I had in my childhood. Seeing the same old wisecrack jokes and challenge I used to have in this game is like a breath of fresh air. I wanted to have my very first video game review to be on this game because it's one of those great games that's underrated but should not be forgotten. I checked out YouTube about some of the folks who remembered the game, and they thought they had great memories with the game just as I did. If you never heard of this game up till now, I would recommend it if you really like platformer games. But overall, this game brought great memories, huge fun factors. That's why I give this game a 5 fingers out of 5. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you really like this review. Stay tuned for my next review, Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko. Till then, see you there, my friends.